This will be the video tutorial for lesson number 10, Mini Project, Design a Snowflake. Let's go ahead and begin by clicking on number 1. It says, "Hi, I'm Ilsa of Arundel. Help me draw a shape. Draw a small shape between 20 and 50 pixels wide. It can be any shape that you like." So they give some examples. It could be either a triangle, a square, a pentagon, or even an abstract shape like a straight-sided uh, crescent, or a half of a circle, or a zigzag. So you can choose any of those that you want. I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to do a very simple square. And I'm going to begin by getting a loop. And the number that goes in this spot is actually the number of sides that you wish to include. Since I am doing a square, I know that a square has 4 sides, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to a number 4. And the 2 blocks that go inside are a move forward and a turn left. It doesn't matter, it could be a turn right by 90 degrees. So 90 degrees specifically for right angles, so squares and rectangles. So next thing is to check to make sure that it does draw the shape that I want. Now right now here the number says move forward by 30 pixels, and in the instructions it did say anything between 20 and 50. So you could change this number to 20 and make an even smaller square, or you can change it to 50 and make a larger square. I'm going to change it to 20 to keep it a small shape. Okay, click finish. That was puzzle number 1. Here is puzzle number 2. So puzzle number 1, you just draw a very, very simple shape, but make sure that it is a small one. And this is the program that we wrote for puzzle number 1. Let's see what they're asking for here. It says, now let's draw more than 1. Now take your shape and draw 2 or 3 in a row by jumping forward some number of pixels. So they're asking us to have our character, in this case Elsa, is going to draw a little square, just a tiny one, and then ask her to jump forward. It says if you jump forward by less than the width of your shape, in other words, if I make this number smaller than 20, they might overlap. We are being asked to draw 2 or 3 of them in a row, so I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of another loop, now that you've had some practice with nested loops, and I'm going to ask her to do it exactly 3 times. Okay. Go ahead and click finish. That was puzzle number 2, was just to create your shape and have her repeat that movement 2 or 3 times. Here is puzzle number 3. Same program that I just came up with for puzzle number 2. Let's make it into a snowflake. Next, jump Ilsa back to the center using the jump to 200 over and 200 down, which is right here, except it doesn't have the numbers 200 over and 200 down. So we're going to manually put those numbers in. Make sure that you do this. When you add this, she will do the row of shapes, but then at the very end she will jump back to the beginning, like that. Let's see what else they want her to do. And this word is very important, by the way. And spin her around to draw the line of shapes again and again in a bunch of different directions. What amazing snowflakes you can make. When you're done, you should end up with something similar to this. And the way that we're going to do that is by having her repeat this for every row. But before I ask her to do that, to do another row, a second row or a third row, I need her to turn slightly so that the next, so for example, the first row would be straight, the next one would be angled upward or angled downward. So not only does she have to jump to the center, she also has to turn. So I'm going to go ahead and have her turn right, but I'm going to choose a smaller number for now. Let's just choose 30. And I'm going to ask her to repeat all of these steps twice, just so you can see it. She should end up with 2 different rows. One of them will be a straight row and the other one will be at an angle. And notice that now we have 3 loops connected. Here we are. There's the first row and there's the second row. Now again, the reason she ended up creating that is because we added this block that had her jump all the way back to the middle, and then we had her turn to the right by 30 degrees before she started the next row. So now if I ask her to do this 5 times, for example, instead of just 2 rows, we'll end up with 5. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. Question to you. Two was just 2 rows. This is 5 rows. How many rows do you think that she would need to do in order to turn around all the way? There's actually a couple different things that we can do. Either we can choose a bigger number than 5, or we can choose a bigger degree of turns. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 40 and try it again. It's still going to be 5 rows, but the space in between each of those rows is actually larger this time. Now let's try a bigger number. How about 8? And at this point, all I'm doing is experimenting to see how many times she would have to complete a row in order to go around one whole time. Looks like she might need to do it one more time. So let's try 9. When it is your turn, you are more than welcome to copy the exact same pattern that I am making. You're encouraged to come up with your own because your pattern will be unique. But yes, you are more than welcome to do what I am doing here. So this is what I ended up with for puzzle number 3. When you are ready, go ahead and click Finish. Click Continue. This will be puzzle number 4. And again, this is the program that I came up with for number 3. And here it is again in number 4. The question here is, what happens if we draw snowflakes on top of each other? Try layering 2 different shapes of snowflakes on top of one another with a little turn in between. See what you get. So this program here, and I'm going to put it back here in just a moment. This was the program that drew a square and then jumped forward. What they're asking us is, why don't we create a second shape that'll go right here? So in my case, she will draw a square and then she will draw something else. I'm going to go ahead and have her turn slightly before I do another shape. I'm going to have her turn by 25 degrees. I'm just choosing a random small number. And now I'm going to go ahead and create another new shape. This time I'll do a hexagon. A hexagon has 6 sides. I'm still going to use a move forward. And my square has 20 pixel size. I'm going to go ahead and choose this to be 20 pixels as well. And a turn to the right. But a hexagon does not have. So for the hexagon, I know that it'll have 6 sides, and I'm going to have my character move forward by 20 pixels for each line, but I'm going to have her turn to the right by 60 degrees. And I know that the number 6 times 60 equals 360. That's how I know that it'll create a hexagon. Just like 4 times 90 will also equal 360. That's a little bit of math, or please don't worry about it too much. Just trust me, do whatever shape you want to do. It's going to come out looking amazing. This is my program so far. It looks really, really complicated, but it comes out in a very, very beautiful picture. Here it is. So you'll notice that my character is drawing a square, turning slightly, and then drawing a hexagon, and then going back to the middle and turning um, before starting everything all over again. So not exactly the result that I wanted, but it does look kind of cool to begin with. Now, were to change, if I were to take off the turn in the center, like just have her draw a square and then immediately draw a hexagon, it would look like this. Perfectly straight lines, not very different from what I originally came up with when it was just squares. I'm still asking her to do it 9 times so that will in my case will complete a full circle. Looks pretty cool. I'm going to leave it like this instead. I actually like this one better than the other one. So originally I had this turn in between the square and the hexagon. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So here's the square program and here's the hexagon program. I'm going to go ahead and click Finish and continue. That was puzzle number 4. Here is puzzle number 5. And same, the program that I came up with for puzzle number 4 is right here. It says, now get creative with shapes and angles to see what kind of new snowflakes we can draw. So this is considered an open play puzzle. You're more than welcome to change anything you want here or nothing at all. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a smaller number, like let's try 5. But that means that I need to change this one down here. 5 times, let's try 60. That might be enough. Let's see what happens here. Looks to me like the rows are a little bit wider. Okay. I'm also going to change the number of times, the number of shapes in a row to something larger. Therefore, my shape will come out being something longer, a longer snowflake this time. When it is your turn to do this puzzle, please just change 1 or 2 things. They want you to experiment. Whatever you come up with is going to look amazing anyway. Very interesting. Looks almost 3-dimensional to me. But he didn't go all the way around, so I would change this to a 6. I am almost certain that anything you come up with is going to be far more interesting than what I'm coming up with right now, and that's okay. I am not a very creative person, but I'm sure that you are. Squares and hexagons for me. And there is my snowflake there. When you are ready, go ahead and click finish and continue. That was puzzle number 5. Here's number 6. And you'll notice that this time there is nothing here. So puzzles 1 through 5 build on each other. Anything you do for number 1 will go to number 2. Whatever you do for number 2 will go to number 3, etc., all the way until number 5. But once you get to number 6, you're going to start something different. In this case, it says, let's try something new. This time, skate in a zigzag. Now, I am going to tell you that anytime you have a zigzag pattern, you are going to need these 4 blocks: a move forward, a turn to the right or a turn to the left, another move forward, and another turn, but it'll be opposite from the first one. So if the first one is a turn right, the next one should be a turn left, or the other way around. If we make this one a left, then this one would be a turn right. You choose whichever one you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and make this one a right and the bottom one a left. This will produce a zigzag pattern like this, just like that. Now, if we ask her to do it multiple times, you'll see that zigzag pattern a little bit more clearly. So put all 4 of them inside, and I'll do 5 of them so you can see the zigzag pattern. Okay, I think that makes it a little bit clear. Now, it does say draw a stair-step pattern that uses turns between 75 and 105 degrees. Right now, the turns are set to 90 degrees. So that number definitely falls within this. But if we change it, for example, to the lower end of the number that they're suggesting, let's change both of them to 75 and see what that looks like. Very cool. And if we change it to something larger, like 105, very nice. Or you can make one of them high and one of them low. Very nice. I like this one particularly, but I'm going to go ahead and make mine look like the one that she has over here. So I'm going to set both of them to 75. You are welcome to do it however you want when it is your turn. Okay, that's all they wanted for this one. So go ahead and click finish. Click continue. And this program will follow us to puzzle number 7. Here it is. The directions here say, now let's turn and go back the way that we came. Turn around 180 degrees and draw the exact same stair pattern again. The rest of the stage will be easier if you put all of your code inside of a loop to make Ilsa draw. Turn around 180 degrees, draw, then turn around 180 degrees again. So we've already done this. They're asking you to turn by 180 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and turn by 180 degrees. And then how do I get her to do all of this again? Well, by putting everything inside of a repeat loop. Just going to have her do this twice. Wants to go down, wants to go up. Here we go. Very good. That's exactly what they wanted. Here's an example of stairs that use a 76-degree turn. Mine was 75-degree turns. Hopefully yours looks like something similar to that. And when you're ready, go ahead and click finish and move on to puzzle number 8, which of course will build on this one a little bit more. The directions say let's spin and make it into a snowflake. Spin that shape around 5 or 6 times in a circle. So they're asking us to have her do all of these things 5 or 6 times. And they've actually given you a number combinations that they want you to try. If you choose 5, try a turn of 72 degrees. I'm going to try it both ways, and then you decide which one you want to do. So I'm going to try 5 and 72 as the first combination. I'm going to try change this to a 5. All right, so we're trying the combination of 5 times and try a turn of 72 degrees. So we're going to put this entire program inside with the number 5, but the 72 is how many degrees she should turn in between each of the rows. And that means that there has to be a turn right in between these two loops here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get a turn right, but instead of 90 degrees, we'll be using 72. Again, the number 5 and the number 72 I got from here, 5, 72. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. However, the other numbers that they recommended were 6 times and 60 degrees. So if I change this to 6 and this down at the bottom to 60, it looks like this. I quite like that. Now, the reason these numbers work, ladies and gentlemen, 5 and 72 and 6 and 60, is because if you multiply 5 times 72 and if you multiply 6 and 60, you will get 360, which is the number of degrees in a circle. So if you can think of another combination of numbers, for example, 9 and 40, if I take 9 times 40, that will equal 360 degrees. So this is what it should look like. It should be a full circle, 360 degrees. If you can think of other number combinations that will equal 360 degrees, you will end up with a fully circular snowflake. Anyway, when you are ready, go ahead and click finish, click continue, and then you will be ready for puzzle number 9, which will be the last one of this unit. The directions say, now what should we do? Let's explore and create our own winter wonderland. Try playing around with what you've created. Draw whatever you like. What happens if you use 2 different angles in your stair-step pattern? So for example here, instead of using 75 and 75, what if we use 2 random numbers like 80 and 100? What would happen then? Let's try it. Very interesting. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, I did not know that it would result in that product. So you are more than welcome to play around with these numbers. About 90 and 80, which aren't too far off from one another. Similar to the one that I just came up with a moment ago, but it looks really nice. But you are more than welcome to kind of change to play around with these. The second suggestion is what happens if you make your diamond pattern longer or shorter? And that's what I did initially. If you remember correctly, we were only doing rows of 3, and then I changed it to a row of 5. And I think a longer number actually works better. The third suggestion says, what does it look like to draw 2 snowflakes on top of one another? I'm not going to worry about that. When it is your turn, you are more than welcome to make any changes you want here. But when you're done and you don't want to explore anymore, go ahead and click finish and then click continue, and you will be done with this unit. You get to the page with the certificate. You don't have to do anything here. It simply means that you are done. You are welcome to finish and close down code.